Numbers are out for 2026 across the board, not for Medicare Part B yet. That should be here fairly soon, if it probably going to be published while we're doing this live Q&A. But in terms of everything else, the annual earnings limit, the monthly earnings limit, disability, SGA, trial work periods, EPE, all those acronyms. I've talked about those several times. So we're going to focus on working and collecting Social Security retirement benefits. Specifically, we're not going to focus on SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program Social Security administers. We're not going to talk about SSI. We're not going to talk about SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. Those are completely different and very confusing. I did a video on that about a week ago for disability. But today we're going to focus on retirement benefits. And retirement benefits, the categories, the limits and everything apply to any type of retirement benefits. That includes retirement benefits on your own record, spouse benefits, divorced spouse benefits, independently entitled divorced spouse benefits, surviving spouse benefits. Yes, surviving spouse benefits are a form of retirement, as Social Security has the same rules and regulations in terms of working and collecting those benefits. Okay, so we're going to go down the list. A lot of people get these confused and then they get in trouble. They get an overpayment or an underpayment, and they have issues. So let's make sure that doesn't happen to you and your loved ones. So remember, like, subscribe, share, and all that kind of good stuff. A lot of people don't get the information they need. Social Security is way, way understaffed, and they're not providing the information like they really, really should. So that's why I am doing this in my semi-retirement. If you're new to my channel, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and I've helped millions of people out with all of this stuff. So, all right, so let's go into it. For this year, you're allowed $23,400. And next year, the new number is $24,480. It goes up a little bit every year. So basically, let's stick with the next year. $24,480, anything you go over that amount while you're under your full retirement age, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. So if you go $10,000 over, if you make $34,480, then that's $10,000 over the limit. So Social Security is going to hold back $5,000 of benefits. And some people already said, oh, how does that work? How are they going to hold back? Are they going to send me a bill for $5,000? No, you're already collecting benefits. So let's say you file for benefits right now, November, December, and you want your benefits to start in January. And when you file, you tell Social Security, okay, next year I'm going to make $34,480. So what Social Security does is say, okay, all right, that's fine, no problem. You're just going to be $5,000, or you're going to have to pay back $5,000. We're going to have to withdraw from your benefit amount $5,000, because it's $1 for every $2 you go over. So let's say your monthly benefit amount is $2,000. So you're not going to get $5,000. And you're saying, so they'll hold back 2.5 months. No, they'll hold back 3 months. Why? Because they can't hold back partial months. So your monthly benefit amount is $2,000. So they're going to hold back 3 checks, January, February, and March. And you're like, but it's only $5,000. Yeah, but they can't hold partial checks. So the first check you will get is in April. But obviously, Social Security always pays a month late. So the April check comes in May. Okay. And then what will happen next year, if you're still under your full retirement age next year, is they will assume you're going to pretty much work the same. So if you told them $34,480, next year they're going to do the same thing. They're going to withhold 3 months of your benefits. Unless you call them up and say, oh yeah, actually I'm going to make $20,000 over next year, or next year I'm going to stay under the $24,000. Then you'll get the full 12 months worth of checks. Okay. What is this thing here underneath where it says $1,950 a month and $2,040 a month? What the heck is that? Okay, that is the monthly earnings limit. That is the first year you start your benefits. So here's what a lot of people mess up, particularly this time of the year. The end of the year, a lot of people mess up and they don't get the benefits they need. Okay, so how this works is the monthly earnings limit. let's say, because there's a lot of people out there right now saying, oh, I've made over $23,400 this year, so I can't start benefits, so I guess I'll go ahead and start benefits in January. No, that might not apply to you. I always exaggerate for effect, old Marine Corps sergeant here. So let's say you made $1 billion from January of October to this year. You made $1 billion, or as Elon Musk, I guess he was announced that he's going to get $1 trillion package. So yeah, good for him. And yeah, the top few people own 50% of the Americans' wealth, and we can't get food stamps or, yeah. Anyway, a lot of people are going to lose health care, but hey, he's getting $1 trillion. So I'm going to be talking about him tomorrow. So he actually came, Dr. Oz and Elon Musk actually said, oops, yeah, remember all that stuff we were telling you? Yeah, well, it's not true. We got busted, but we're going to move the goalposts. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Anyway, so let's say you make $1 billion from January until October. Social Security doesn't care. They only care about once you start your monthly benefits. So if you say, okay, I want to start my benefits in November or December, they'll say, okay, how much are you going to make November and December? If you say, I am going to make $1,950 or under, they said, all right, cool, let's start your benefits in November. But I've already gone $1 billion over the $23,400. They don't care. Doesn't matter. Only matters when you start benefits. So hopefully there's a lot of people out there that, oh my gosh, wait a second, I can start my benefits this month and it doesn't matter what I made before? Correct. The first month you go under $1,950, that's when you can start benefits. But you have to stay under 1950. So if you start in November here, you have to be under 1950 this month, 1950 in December. And then next year, you can't do that monthly thing again. You can't make $1 billion in 6 months and then, go under the 2040. No, you have to be under the annual earnings limit for the entire year. So next year you have to be under the $24,480. You can't switch to a monthly earnings test again. Okay. All right. And some people, this is one of the reasons, one of the ways politicians beat up on Social Security. There's a lot of people out there that voluntarily get paid incorrectly. They voluntarily, of their own choosing, decide to get an overpayment. And why? Why would anybody voluntarily get overpaid to get mispaid? Is because they say, well, this year the limit is $23,400. I'm still working. I don't know what's going to happen November, December. I might get some extra hours and I might be over a little bit. Or they say, yeah, I'm already over. And if I'm already over and they don't suspend my checks, what will happen is once Social Security finds out how much you made this year for 2025, and if it's over the $23,400, once you do your taxes and the IRS tells Social Security or your employer tells Social Security, whatever route it goes, then Social Security will look at it and says, hey, this person made $2,000 over the limit. So they send you a nasty grant that says you have to pay us back $1,000. And a lot of people just, okay, all right, that's fine. I'll just do it that way. Rather than calling Social Security and telling them, and hopefully they stop the checks. And once you get that, hopefully they restart the benefits. And then there's a 3-hour wait and you may have to talk to artificial intelligence for a while and yell at it for a while. So some people just say, forget it. I'll deal with the overpayment. And then once you get the overpayment, then you just deal with that. You have 60 months to pay back, no interest. That's why a lot of people voluntarily, that's how you voluntarily, everybody says, well, if Social Security makes a mistake, then they should, no, it's not their mistake. When you file for benefits, your reporting responsibilities, they give that to you. Your reporting responsibilities are if you make over, you have to tell Social Security, and just some people just decide not to. It's no big deal. They're not going to hold it against you. You just, oh yeah, you made too much, send us a check or set up a payment plan for 60 months. So no interest. So that's a lot of people do that. And politicians love that because even though Social Security has less than a 1% error rate, which is pretty phenomenal, a lot of that is people just deciding to get incorrectly paid themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So, all right. So this is all before you hit your full retirement age. Hey, if you need help with Medicare, Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements, Part D plans, make sure you reach out to my partners at Chapter Medicare. I looked for a place that would help y'all out, and Chapter Medicare knocked it out of the park. They've got excellent customer service. They look at every single plan in your area. and their help is always 100% free. Give them a call and they'll see if they can help you out, and tell them Dr. Ed said hi. The year you reach your full retirement age. So if your full retirement age is next year, your FRA, full retirement age, is 2026. And let's say the month is July. So from January until June, you have to stay, for next year, you have to stay under the $65,160. So as long as you stay under $65,160 for those first 6 months, you're good. And starting in July, when you actually hit your full retirement age, you can go back to making $1 billion a month, right? What's this? And there's also a monthly thing. So if you make $1 billion in January, and then in February you stay under the $5,430, then they can restart your check. So there's that. And again, the year you turn your full retirement age, so the annual earnings limit triples, and also how much it withheld is reduced. So instead of $1 for every $2 you go over, Social Security holds back $1 for every $3 you go over. So the year you hit your full retirement age, no issues, or a lot less issues. And then starting the month you hit your full retirement age, how much is withheld? Zero, none. So you can go back to making $1 billion a month, and it doesn't affect your Social Security benefits at all. Okay. So that's a mistake that a lot of people make end of the year. They go ahead and file for benefits and they start January because they think they're making too much this year, and they don't realize the monthly earnings limit. So, and if you do make a mistake when you first file for retirement benefits, you've got several options to fix it. Within 12 months, you can withdraw your application. So within 12 months, you say, yeah, I changed my mind. I'm going to go back to work, and yeah, I could call and suspend. So you can always call and suspend. If you start your benefits at 62 and then at 64, you find a good job, making 50, 60, 70, 80, $1 billion, you just call Social Security and suspend those benefits. Okay. And again, as I said, some people do, some people don't. If you're only going to go over a little bit and you're willing to deal with the overpayment when it comes, which is, again, not that big of a deal. You just come back here and we talk about overpayments all the time. Then it's no big deal. But if you're going to go considerably over and, pretty much have the entire year's benefits withheld, then it's a good idea to go ahead and call Social Security and suspend your benefits. Okay. So you can suspend your benefits or withdraw. On the withdrawal part, again, has to be within 12 months. And then you also have to repay all the benefits you received for those 12 months because you're withdrawing your application. It's like it never happened. And because it never happened, you should have never gotten all those months of pay. So you withdraw the application and then you pay back all the money. So a lot of people do that as well. So those are the two options: withdraw or suspend benefits. Okay, what happens to those checks that if your benefits are suspended because you make too much money? What happens to those checks? Do you lose them forever? The actual checks, yes. But Social Security has this thing called the ARF, the Adjusted Reduction Factor. Basically, anytime you file for benefits early from Social Security, anytime, for retirement benefits, spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits, surviving spouse benefits, then again, you're limited to how much you can make, okay? And every month you retire early, your benefits are reduced. Your monthly benefit is reduced. So let's say you're filing for retirement on your own record and you file 30 months early. So your monthly check is reduced by 30 months. And then let's say after 10 months, you go back to work, and the other 20 months you don't get a check because your benefits are in suspense. So once you hit your full retirement age and your benefits restart, Social Security says, okay, yeah, we've been suspending your benefits, for, the last 20 months. And now we're going to go ahead and send you a check because you're after your full retirement age and it doesn't matter anymore. Work doesn't matter anymore. So we're cutting you a check for your monthly benefit amount. But, oh, wait a second. The check that you were receiving was reduced for 30 months. So hold on, let's go ahead and recalculate this. So what they do is, because you didn't receive benefits for 20 months, you only received it for 10, then what they'll do is they'll give you a a higher check that's only reduced for those 10 months. You don't necessarily get those, the 20 months back or anything like that. You just get your benefit amount gets unreduced. So you will receive a check that is only reduced by 10 months for the rest of your life. So, and that's 100% automatic, 100% automatic. Okay. What else? A lot of questions yesterday. A couple of people came into live Q&A and said, "Hey, I just got an increase on my benefit amount. What's going on? It's COLA. It's not COLA, is it? No, it's not COLA. Not in November. So it's not the cost of living allowance that was announced. That was the 2.8%. It is because probably didn't know all the details of those stories, but this happens this time of the year. Because those people worked last year in 2024 and they paid more. And they paid in terms of the high 35 years, because that's how Social Security calculates your benefit amount, is based on your high 35 years of earnings. So the earnings they made last year was one of their high 35 years of earnings. So once Social Security gets notified of that, they look at it and they say, okay, this is a lot of money. Is it one of the high 35 years? Yeah, it's one of the high 35 years. So they kick out the low one, stick in the new one, recalculate. And because if it happens in, October, November, December, they say, well, you should have got the extra money starting January. So they give you that retroactive benefits for 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, however long it took them to calculate. So you get that one lump sum check added to it for, if it's $10 more a month, then they've delayed 10 months, so you get $100. Plus going forward, you get an extra $10 a month every month going forward. Okay. Another question that's asked is what counts as income? Okay. On our website here, mygovexpert.com, we've got calculators that go through all of this. So if you go onto my website, and that's also where you can find in the bottom left a little camera icon that you can record a video. We've got a former Social Security employee. We're adding more. This is the only thing we charge for. Everything is 100% free, but the one-on-one appointments, unfortunately, we have to charge for. But it also pays for the websites and all that stuff. So we appreciate it. And the people that help you out are awesome. So they're former Social Security employees. They teach you how to navigate the bureaucracy, Social Security, retirement, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, disability benefits, and all the rest of it. So if you need one-on-one help, definitely. And you're also supporting all the stuff we're doing. Okay, so if you go on the website, which is 100% free, except for the one-on-one, you go into Social Security, click on retirement there, you click on working and benefits, and there's a little calculator there that tells you about how much you think you're going to be withheld for next year, for this year. And then it also talks about what's counted. So income that's not counted as income, obviously, you're actually Social Security benefits. So people say, well, I'm working, I'm making $24,000, whatever, but I'm also getting $12,000 of Social Security benefits. Does that $12,000 put me over? No. The Social Security money that you receive doesn't count against the annual or monthly earnings limit, nor does investment income, pensions, annuities, IRAs, veteran benefits, or any government benefits, including Social Security. So it's only basically wages, gross wages from employment, net earnings from self-employment, bonuses or commissions because part of your wages or whatever, vacation pay, still sick pay. So what you get in pensions and all that, what you're pulling out of your IRA doesn't count against how much you're receiving for the annual earnings limit. Okay, we did that in 20 minutes. And let's see what kind of questions we have. Let's go ahead and move over into Julie. What's up, Julie? I need help pertaining to receiving my SSDI benefits I was approved for on September 22nd. So yeah, you were approved in September 20th. It depends on what level you were approved in. If you're approved at the initial level, then it's back at the Social Security office, and they, Social Security staffing is super, super low. So everything is taking 10 times longer than it should. It's been like that for a long time, but it's even 10 times worse now. It's all the people that were fired by Elon Musk. So congratulations on his $1 trillion pay. Anyway, but the rest of us, not so much. So if it's an initial, I've adjudicated hundreds of thousands of these, and it shouldn't take that long if it's an initial. If you have an attorney or anything like that, then it takes a little bit longer because they have to pay the attorney and all that kind of stuff. If you were approved at the administrative law judge, then it takes quite a bit longer because the ALJ, if they approve you, then they have to write it up and do this and send it to the process. And so it takes a lot longer. But depending on your particular situation, you need to call the local office, call the 800 number. And if it gets really terrible and you really need the money, then you just need to reach out to your politicians. That's the reason we can't get customer service, is because they don't want to provide customer service because they want to, destroy the system from the inside. They're doing a pretty good job. Steve, the only way to do great work, is to love what you do. Yes, that's, I agree. My neighbor was dual eligible with Medicaid, went on Social Security and income went too high, lost Medicaid. Can she get a supplement plan G without underwriting? Depends on the state, but probably not. Because she didn't necessarily lose her Medicare Advantage plan. So she probably had a Medicare Advantage dual eligible because she had Medicaid and Medicare. She didn't necessarily lose the plan itself. She lost eligibility for the plan. So it's kind of strange, but it also depends on what state she's in. So you can call our partners at Chapter, who also, sponsor and help us build all these websites and all this free stuff. So probably I'm normally she'll probably have to go through underwriting. So, and there's going to be a lot of people like this that are going to be losing Medicaid because you can't cut close to $1 trillion out of the Medicaid budget and not have it affect people that unintentional. They said, oh yeah, we're just kicking illegals off. Yeah. Undocumented immigrants do not receive federal Medicaid. Some states decide to give health care to undocumented immigrants, but that's not using federal money, right? So they cut $1 trillion and they're saying, yeah, because once we kick all these people off, it's going to affect everybody. And even if you're eligible for benefits, Medicaid benefits, SNAP benefits, or whatever like that, they're going to put up so many blocks, so many roadblocks. The states are, because they just don't have the money. They don't have the money to cover the people. So they don't have the money to cover the people that are actually going to be eligible. So they're going to cut back services as much as they possibly can, or make it so difficult to get benefits and continue benefits that people are just going to drop off. So we have to fight and make sure those who really are eligible for benefits get those benefits. So that's why we've started our other website, 24help.org. To crowdsource help out there for y'all to help your community, a hub for people to help people.